The Real Estate Photography Podcast is brought to you by TourBuzz.net, high definition virtual tour and photograph hosting, now with interactive floor plans. Sign up for your free trial today. Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Photography Podcast with Mike Muriello. Today we're going to talk about an exterior tip involving fixing the exposure of an exterior shot when the house is shot at an inopportune time. For example, this house was scheduled to be shot around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So the sun is pretty much, as you can see, directly overhead, making the face of the house completely engulfed in shadow. Now, when you're in matrix or evaluative metering, the camera will attempt to make an even exposure. And if you look up at the histogram, it attempts to make an even exposure. But the scene is just, well, there's a polar opposite. You've got the sky that's super bright, and you've got the face of the house that's super dark. So it's not going to be able to get it. Plus, even if you were to set it to spot metering or something where you want the face of the house to be exposed correctly, the sky is going to be blown out, and so will the driveway because it's a very reflective surface. So the case in point is there's no perfect way to take the picture. You're just going to have to deal with it and fix it in post. That's just the way, if you're going to take a picture at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So here's what I would do. It's a very simple fix. It only takes a couple of minutes, and it works out pretty well. In Lightroom or Aperture now, you can just go into the adjustment brush. I would dial in about a plus 0.8 brightness, or I should say exposure, in addition to exposure, and that's where we'll start anyway. And we're just going to go in. It's going to be a rough job, by the way. And we know from our past podcasts that I cannot talk while I'm doing this, so my brain doesn't function then. A positive exposure on the face of the house to bring it back to life. Now this is a little bit easier since this is captured in RAW. This is an NEF file, Nikon electronic format. It's a digital negative, so we're not adjusting a compressed version of the image. We're actually adjusting the actual pixels as they were captured. So another reason to go ahead and shoot RAW whenever you can. Okay, it's pretty rough, but it works. Now, if I were to turn off the adjustment brush, this is what we had before, and this is what we get after. Not perfect, but it brings the photo back to life. We can actually see what's going on. Now, you can always, it'll take a second to update, yeah. We can always bring it down, bring it up. Now, see, there's a point where we go too far. That's way too far. We don't want to go, I liked 0.8 when I was testing this out. You could even go a little bit lower if you wanted to, if you didn't want it to be that extreme, 0.7. And that works out pretty well. Now, if you aren't sure about the adjustment brush, at least in Lightroom, if you tap the O key, it's going to show you what is painted and what isn't. As you can see, I got sloppy on the left-hand side. This is just an overlay to show you what we've done. I'm going to create a new adjustment brush, and I'm going to bring the brightness down on the sky. Once again, it's going to be rough. And if it catches up with me, sometimes it lags behind. There we go. And on the stuff surrounding it. So what we've done is I'll turn it off again and turn it on. We've increased the exposure on the parts that were underexposed, and we decreased the exposure, or I should say the brightness. The brightness works a lot better on skies than exposure. Don't ask me why. Anyway, and we decreased, let's just say, the luminance level in the parts that were overexposed. And we've created something much, much more as to what our eyes can actually see, and the camera currently cannot. So that's how I would deal with something if you have to shoot at inopportune time. All right. Well, thanks for watching and listening. Have a good one.